Hi, everyone. I'm Paul with MadCap Software. Welcome to video 8 out of 10 on our learning and development series. And we are down to a video where we are going to explore creating PDF output for an e-learning course. Now, I know a lot of people probably are thinking, I'm never going to do that. I'm just going to create online courses. I don't care about creating PDF versions. Fine. You can just move on to the next video in the series, no problem. But if you're thinking this is something that you might want to do, that's what we're going to talk about, because Flare actually has something really cool in it that allows you to easily create different outputs for a teacher version, a student version, where one of them will show the correct answers and one won't, and you don't have to mess with a whole lot to do it. It's super easy, super simple. But there are some other aspects to PDF output that you probably want to be aware of. And if you're working from the project template, you want to be able to change things out for yourself. So that's what we're going to do. Okay, let's get going. So back in the beginning of this video series, when we first created a Flare project, we chose an e-learning project template that was set up for both online and PDF output. So a lot is already set up for us, but we still kind of want to see what it looks like and what we're dealing with, because there's definitely things that we'll want to change. So that's the first thing we're going to do. Let's generate the output and take a look. First thing I'm going to do is clean this up, close all the windows, come down in the project organizer under targets, and you can see we got our online targets. I'm going to open up the PDF targets, and we got 2 of them already. One is set up for the student, one set up for the teacher. The idea being that, the teacher version is going to show the correct answers, student version isn't. And those are the main differences, as well as the title page, what the text says. So what I'm going to do, first of all, is I'm going to open up the teacher version, and I'm going to go ahead and build it. I haven't even looked at this. I have no idea what's going to happen. I'm actually kind of hoping that we get some, not errors, because errors mean a thing doesn't generate successfully, but warnings, because that's the way real life is you generate and you think everything's good, but then you get some warnings and then you need to troubleshoot. So I'm actually, part of me is hoping that happens, because our online courses, we built those and those always worked. They were already set up to where there were no warnings. So I'm going to go ahead and click build, and let's see what happens down at the bottom, see if we get any warnings or not. And it should finish really quickly, like everything. Okay, so it worked fine, no problem. Oh, well, that's okay. Sometimes what happens, I just wanted to let you know that sometimes you'll look and you'll get some warnings in here, and it could be a variety of things. So what you do is you select it and click open build log, and you got these 3 tabs in here. Messages this just shows you what happened during the process, and warnings is what you would look at to see maybe you got a broken link. You had a link from one thing to another and that didn't work, or something is left out, but it looks like everything worked fine. So that's okay. Let's open up the output and take a look. I'm going to drag this over here onto this monitor and get rid of this. Hold on just a second. Get rid of that. All right. So, and let's actually look at it so that it is one page like that. All right. So here we go. First page, looking at this, and we go, all right, so we got some additional colors to change, and the logo, that didn't change. Our title page is right, San Diego, California e-learning course, and it's got this teacher version thing in here, which I'm going to show you how this happened. And this is really, really small text, and it's all okay. And going down here, that looks like that's the city of, that's Austin. So we need to swap that out too. All right, moving down, we've got our generated TOC, and it looks like it's okay for the most part. But remember, earlier in the series, we have a different TOC, which again, the TOC file in Flare is actually the outline. This generated TOC, I'll show you how this was created. It's not the same thing, but we switch things around. We move the first knowledge check up, the second knowledge check up, and we added the third knowledge check in here. All right. And yeah. And so then we come down, that looks okay otherwise. And we got our page layout is controlling our headers and our footers. And maybe we're okay with that. The footer at the bottom, this one says table of contents and it's page 2. And we might be fine with that. And then there's the welcome. And it's just a very little bit of text in here, but it does have our orange colors because that's coming from our style sheet. So we don't need to make that change. We don't have that start course link in here because we conditioned that out. We come down, history. Remember, I put in content, but just a very little bit of content, and a lot of it was gobbledygook. So this was, the orange one is an H1, a heading 1, and this is an H2. That's why the font is different. And so we just created that stuff, and we're just going down here. This is a teacher version. So notice that it does have the answers, the correct answers selected in here. And you can use things like, one of the things I would do is I'm noticing, all right, we got our questions and answers here. And then this one, this is the question, even though it's weird stuff. I could increase the size of this. Probably, you're probably waiting for me to do that so that it's easier to read. I don't have good eyesight either. I should have done that the first thing. So you can see that it's got the first 2 answers, but then the third answer is just straggling here on the next page. So what I would do is use a page break in here to make that look nicer. So we can do that. All right, let's go on to the next page. Down here, beer, stuff about beer there. I didn't put stuff in, content in there. The beer topic, remember that one, I believe was the drop down effects. And so brewery 1 and the content below it, that was what you clicked and expanded and collapsed. And the nice thing about Flare is it just automatically converts this to just text because you're not going to be expanding and collapsing things in your PDF. So it handled that nicely. Come down here, second knowledge check. All right, that one looks fine. And San Diego Zoo, remember in the online one, we had the actual video, but in this one, we're thinking, well, people aren't going to see the video in the PDF, so we put this link in there. And so they can click that or copy and paste it and go look at it. But the nice thing is we are single sourcing here. That's the same content. We're not copying and pasting anything. So we get down here to the San Diego test. Remember, see, it did change it from Austin to San Diego. There's question 1. Next one will be question 2, question 3. And our footer looks fine. San Diego test, page 9. It's picking all this stuff up. So it's not a lot of stuff we don't need to change in here. Okay, I am going to move this off to the other monitor and refer to it. And what we'll do is, now that we've reviewed the existing output, it's in its current state, we will go in and we'll start making these changes. This is what I do all the time. I will go make my initial changes and think, okay, I know I got a lot of it, but I'm not sure I got everything. And the thing about Flare is, when you open up these topics, you can preview them. Let me just show you this real quick. I just want to make a point here. I could open up a topic and I could preview it using this button right here, and it'll preview it. The really cool thing is you can do it according to target settings. So both online and print. So I could do this and it will show you. And so you can get an idea of stuff ahead of time of what things look like. It's really cool. And I could switch to a different target. From here, I could go, well, show me the teacher version, which is a PDF, and it'll change. and it'll show me what that looks like. And this is really, really useful as you are working. But the thing is, sometimes you need to build the output to see, because there are things that don't happen until you generate the output, like the toolbar at the bottom. These things come together, in the where the page is. Like it says page number 1, but really this topic could be page number 50 in one target and page number 35 in another target, or page 1 in another target. You just don't know. So you get a lot out of the preview, but you don't get absolutely everything. So just wanted to give you that tip. Okay, let's move on to the next section where we start working through some of these things. Now, we just looked at the output, right? And we saw that there were some issues. So this happens all the time. And what I find myself doing is becoming a detective. A lot of times I'll look at the output and I just kind of break it down, what I need to sort out. So in this section, based on what we just saw, I want to fix the colors and the images. So let's actually, let me show you my screen. We'll look at the output and we'll go into Flare and sort all this out. So the output, the first page looked like this. I'm going to do this too, so you can see the grand thing. And the colors in here, the only problem with the color is the header up here. Now, I think that my eyesight isn't real great. I'm not sure if that's the light blue or the red or orange in here. I think it's the orange that got picked up, but we can check on that. And then the logo we want to change, and we want to change this image down at the bottom. So in Flare, where I a lot of times will start breaking things down is I'll go into my TOC. So I'm going to go into the TOC, and this is the print TOC that we're using for this output. We know that because what was the one here it is, the combination course teacher, and we look on the general tab, it's the print TOC. That's what we're using. So let's open that up, and right away we see a few things. Now, we didn't get any warnings in the compiler when we ran this, because we've got some missing links in here, but Flare just ignored these. It's like, yeah, you have a missing link in here because you're not pointing to anything, and it was smart enough to know, all right, there's nothing here, so we'll just skip it. But but it might drive you nuts to see this in here, these missing things. So I just select them and get rid of them. No problem. Oh, we also do, I am focusing on the color and the images in this, but while we're at it, we can move these things around like we had for the online output. And we want the third knowledge check in here. We'll just take care of this really quickly while we've got it. So the third knowledge check went right there. All right. And so that takes care of that. But what we're interested in is this first page, the title page. Now, I just know from looking at this that, okay, the problem could be happening in a couple of places. First, hover over that and you see, oh, it's linked to this topic, this special topic title page. And so if I just close these out, it's in here, the print only topics, it's that. And I could easily get to it. If I've got tons of files over here, you just select that and click this button, open linked file, and it'll open it up. Well, in this case, my problem isn't here because all I have in here, these are variables, which I'm going to talk about later in this video. And I just got text and variables in here. I don't have that other stuff. I could put it in this topic, the design, but what I did in this project template was I put it in the page layout. So when I was talking about design before, there are different files that can be used to control the look and feel of things. Style sheet, skins for online output, template page, right? And for print output, you got these page layouts, and they are right here. Now, what page layout is associated with this? Well, the other thing you can do here in the editor is you select this, and let's look at the properties for this. We're looking at the properties for this node. It's called a node, this link or TOC entry. It goes by many names. Select that and open up the properties. And we've got all the tabs in here, just like we've seen before. Well, it's this printed output one that we're interested in. And we have this set up with a page layout break. Now, there's a whole bunch of stuff about creating PDFs. If I were to show you how to create a PDF from the ground up when you don't have anything, there's a lot more I'd be showing you than in this video. But the nice thing about the project templates is they're already set up. And so you kind of don't need to know a lot of this stuff right away. So I am skipping over a lot of information that I could be telling you, but it's the most important stuff that we're focused on. So this lets you insert a break in here, a chapter break or a page layout break. And a page layout break means it's associated with one of these page layout files. And we created these page layout files, one specifically for the front matter, meaning the title page, and another and the generated TOC, and another for the chapters. All right, so all the rest of the content. And so the page layouts control page size, the margins, the orientation, headers, footers, page numbers, and it's all set up just like that. Now, if you want to, you can open up these page layouts and go in and you can change it. You can change the page size, and you could put the page numbers in the header instead of the footer. It's up to you. So, but what we're doing here is we are doing our detective work, and we're going, okay, there's a page layout and it's pointing to this front matter page layout. That is our problem. So I'm going to cancel out of that. I'm going to open up this front matter, and sure enough, there it is. This is what a page layout looks like. You got this page layout has 2 pages in it. And so we need to fix this color. So what I need to do, I am going to go find that, and we want that orange, that darker orange. And so this is a frame. This is the page layouts are made up of frames, and you can tell when you click on these rectangles and you get these handles on them. Well, I can just double click on this and it's going to bring up the properties. And there's all these tabs that let you, manipulate the padding and the size and put things called anchors, or you can click and drag those handles and change the size of stuff. I'm interested in this background. So the background has this. This is my preview. So this, I'm thinking, yeah, this is it. This is where the color's wrong. And I know it's right here. There's the color, solid, fill start. I click that. I can go into more colors. And this is where I need to change my hex number. And it gives me a quick preview. It's like, this is what you got now. This is what you're going to. Okay, nice. Got that. Now, the other part of this is the logo. And the logo is coming from this image. And it's this special Austin logo print EPS. It's a different image than what I was using for the online output. But I do have a San Diego version. So I'm going to click this, which earlier I showed you. Actually, I don't have it. So let me go grab that and put it in here. I was thinking about the hero print, but hold on. I will go grab that and then it'll show up in here. Okay, no problem. I went out. I just forgot to paste that one in too. So San Diego logo print. So you can use, you don't have to use separate images. I just did, in this case, EPS files are nice for print. And I select that and you can see the preview, if you can kind of barely see it up here, San Diego. It changed. The EPS are just really nice for the print output, just look nicer. So I'm going to click OK there. And there is my image. Okay, so I got those. And I'm going to keep I'm going to keep all that stuff the same. Click OK. Now that's changed. Actually, it didn't change. I lost my color. Let me go back and put that back in there. This is like me driving. I do a lot of U-turns. Ask my wife. Okay, got that. And I'm pretty sure that this, yeah, that looks like light orange, the bottom part of it. If I select that, yeah. So we got our light orange in there. So we're good there, right? And we come down, now the city, we need to change that. And that's another frame in here. And I'm going to double click that. And that one is set to hero image print, which is the Austin one. I'm going to click browse and I'm going to go to San Diego hero print. Click OK, and it replaces it. That looks nice. San Diego is beautiful, you guys. You got to visit. Okay, click OK, and we are good there. We should be good. Okay, so that fixed our color and our images. All right. So, and we also fixed the generated TOC. I am going to show you in another section how that generated TOC actually came into being. But first, I want to go in. The other thing that we wanted to fix was a page break. So let's do that in the next section. We'll insert a page break. Okay, now we've fixed part of it. Now we want to go back in. Let's look at our output again to refresh our memory where that page break problem was and see what we can do to fix that. So I'm still looking at the previous output. That's why you see the color and the images are old. I am going to go, I think it was here, the first knowledge check. Yeah, so we had 1, 2, 3. Before the fourth one, we had that straggler right there. And so let's go insert a page break that we can use there, the first knowledge check. Okay, so go back into Flare. Let's close this stuff, get it out of my face. And let's go find our first knowledge check topic in here. And it is right here. Okay, so 1, 2, it's before the last one right here. All right, now there are a couple ways to do page breaks. And if you can, the best way to do these things is almost always in styles. But sometimes that can become problematic. And so the way that you could do this is you could create a special style in your style sheet. Open this thing up. And just to give you an example, because I'm not going to use a style in this one, I'm going to show you, actually, it's a really, really quick way to do it, a way that I use a lot. And some people might not like it because they say, well, you should always use styles. But there are some reasons for doing this other method. But I'm going to show you something here where, let's say that on H2s, right? So I've got, or well, let's go down to a special paragraph. Let's go down to paragraph tags and just start out with scratch. Okay, so a paragraph by default is not going to have a page break before it, just a regular paragraph. But maybe there are special paragraphs where I always want them to have a page break. And so I could create a selector. This is a class selector. And I could say page break before. Okay, I could do that. And it comes down here. And now I got to go find the page break stuff. And this is left off from what we had before. I'm going to select all properties. And it takes just a moment. And I'm going to go to the group view because it'll be easier for me to find this. And I know it's under print support. And I go find page break before. And I could set that to always have a page break before if a style is using that. So then let's say I just had a regular paragraph in here, right? This is right now, it's just regular. But if I wanted to have a page break before that, I could go in here and select to apply my style and say page break before. So it's automatically going to put a page break in front of that. All right, so you can use styles, and styles are great, great, great for that. The reason why sometimes you need to use this other method is, like, I'll have a lot of PDFs, and the same topic occurs in many PDFs, but sometimes I want a page break there, and sometimes I don't. And so what can end up happening is you can end up adding some styles, applying a style for some content and a different style for others, and then you're conditioning. It gets really convoluted. And so we added this other really nice feature. I'm going to use my keyboard buttons and get down here and press enter. So I'm between these. So I'm before the section where I want my page break, right? It's before the last question section. And you go to the insert ribbon, and there is where is it? It is it one of the, it's in here. I know it is. Page break. Hover over that. Sometimes you have to hover over these. Page break. And you click that, and it adds this little bar. Again, this looks like one of those proxy things, but it's not. And the nice thing is, this will just be ignored in online output. You don't have to do anything. Now, sometimes, like I said, I will have this, and the topic will be in a lot of different PDFs. And so I might click that, and I'll set conditions on it so that, yeah, it's in this PDF, but it's not in that PDF. And just by experience, I found that that is less cumbersome sometimes, not always, than putting it on a style. So you can argue with me, but I've done this both ways. And in the end, what you want to do, you always want to follow the rule of what's most efficient, what's the easiest to get you where you want to be, what's going to be the easiest to manage. And you go with that. You go with that. And in some cases, I just found that this is the best thing for me to do. Okay, so I'm going to save that. And I'm not going to rebuild. We're going to look at this in the next video where we get into building and previewing output and see how our stuff worked. But that is the solution for the page break. So when you are generating your PDFs and you find places where it's like, that just looks goofy, I really need a page break there, you can use this method. Very quick, very easy. Or if you've got certain styles and it just fits the styles that you're using, use that style method. Okay, let's move on into the next section and talk about what else we can with this PDF. Okay, so I've been promising for a long time in this video series that I would talk about variables. We had the video on single sourcing, and we went through snippets and conditions, which are really, really important for single sourcing or reusing content. And variables is the other one. And we kind of saw that previously in a video where we looked at style variables. But now I want to talk about what most people think of with variables in Flare, the content variables, and how they can be super useful in this in this idea of creating different PDFs, but having content just automatically change according to the PDFs. That was really eloquent. I know how I said that. So let's go into Flare and check this out. Okay, here's what I want to show you. If I look at the output again, and I look at this is the old output for the title page, there are a few variables that are going on in here. And one of them is the title, and another is this teacher version thing. And I think maybe something down here, I'm not sure, but let's go look at that topic. And we looked at it before, is in this print only topics thing and title page. And you can tell a variable when it's inserted, if you have your markers on, because it's got these this kind of background thing. You can't, it's like snippets. You can't click in it and do anything because it exists elsewhere, and variables exist in the project organizer down at the bottom. And like condition tag sets, they have sets in here. There's a variable set, and you can have many of them. We just have one in here. It's called general. This is the way this project template is set up, with certain variables. And what these are, they're sort of like snippets in a way, in that they let you reuse content and just change it in one place, but then you insert it into multiple places. These are really, really useful, I find, for things that change a lot. I like to use them for version numbers. So I'll create a new variable here, and you can do it like this. And you just give it a name like version number, whatever makes sense, or just version. And maybe you're on, and then you put your definition over here on the right. And maybe you're on version 1.0. And then I could insert that variable maybe into my topic page, like these have been inserted. Let me just do that just so you get the idea. You can insert a variable from here. You can drag them, actually, I believe, and you can use this button right here, and it'll bring it up, and I could select version, and it'll bring it up, and it's on 1.0. So I could say, I could, I just clicked that thing. Unbelievable. What am I doing here? All right, let's insert this again. I did something goofy here. Version number. There we go. So I could enter the word version here, and then this number I could make that change automatically each time we release something new. And all I would need to do is update this to 2.0, then 3.0. You can see I can just do 2.0, save it, go back. Now it's 2.0. So variables are really, really nice. I'm going to delete this, but I have a couple of variables in here. Yeah, just these two, the title and this other one, which is, so there's the title one, San Diego, California eLearning course. And the subtitle is teacher version. Now, there's something that's unique going on here. And with this one, you see this one's got a little gray thing and student below it. Well, what this is a variable definition. It's an alternate variable definition. And so I could show you how this is created. For example, I could do something similar. I could do one that's expert and novice. So let me just create one that says expert, or actually let's call it level, your level of knowledge in here. And so the main one would be expert. But then I could select that and I could say add variable definition, and I am going to call this one novice. Now, why do I do that? Well, because maybe in most places, wherever that variable is, I want it to say one thing. I want it to say expert, but then in another target, maybe I want all these variable definitions to be the same, but this one I want to use novice. And that's what's happening in our PDF targets. Did I delete the wrong thing? There we go. All right. So it's already set up in order to do this. So the idea is I generated this PDF combination course teacher. All right. And this one, if I open up this target, I told you we'd go back into targets for a little bit. If I open this, now I'm going down to this variables. And what happens is it automatically populates with all the variable definitions that are the main ones. And teacher is a main one and all these other main ones, but the student version isn't a main one. I can go in here and you can see it's got this little drop down. This is super cool. It even has my new version number one in here. But if I go into the student target, which this target is very very similar, almost identical to the other one, a lot of the same settings. But if I go into variables, instead went in and selected that dropdown and selected student. And so what that means is when you generate the output, even though I only inserted one variable here, in the teacher version, this is going to say teacher version, but in the student version, it's going to say student version. So that's really, really cool. And you can override things at the target level. And so this says San Diego, California eLearning course, the title, right? If I went into the student version of this, it's going to say the same thing for the title, San Diego, California eLearning course. I could also just click and type in here, and it would override it just for that target. That's two ways to do that. But variables are really, really cool. And that allows me to just have one title page and one piece of content here. There's different ways to do this. I could just type the stuff. I could type teacher version and I could type student version below it and I could put conditions on them. I could do it like that too. You just learn about these features and you use the stuff that makes things most efficient once again. And this is an extremely efficient way to do it. So that's a really quick lesson on variables. There is more to learn about it, more cool things about variables. You can get into the online help and learn more as you need it. Now, the final thing that we're going to go through in this video is the target settings for PDFs. And I promised you before I would talk about how that TOC is generated. And that's part of what we're going to talk about. And there's another really, really cool option in the target editor. And we'll take a look and see what else is unique in there for the PDF, targets. All right, so I have this target right here, PDF target I've got two of them, one for the teacher, one for the student. Let's run through this from beginning to end and see if there's what's new. Okay, so general tab, same thing. TOC, we're already pointing to it. Primary page layout, we are setting those from the TOC. We saw the page layouts associated with different parts. If you wanted to do it on broader level, you could. Here, if everything was using the same page layout, you could do that. Your output file is important. If you want to specify, if you want the PDF to be named something specifically, you could put it in here and that'll be named. Okay. Conditional text, this is the same thing as what you saw in the other video for the online, except the big difference in here is that so this is for the combination course. So it's going to be identical settings for the combination course, except for the print only is going to be set to include. The online set to exclude is the opposite in the online target. Variables. We talked about this already, where you just look through this and you go, okay, yep, I wanted to use the teacher version. There's the title, whatever else. So it's going to automatically use the base definitions unless you tell it otherwise in the target to override them. So I love that feature. I love being able to override variable definitions in the target. Publishing, same thing I talked about before. Glossary, we're going to skip those, go down to advanced. And this option right here, generate TOC proxy, that's the thing that makes the magic happen. That's how you get that TOC, the actual TOC, because remember this thing right here, print TOC. If I were using this for an online output, this would actually be the TOC. But because this is a PDF version, this is just an outline. I'm just telling it, start with this topic, follow it with this topic, and all the way down. But it isn't creating the TOC. Now, there's two ways to create a TOC. There is the easy way. This is the easy button. You click that, it generates it automatically. You can do the same for indexes and glossaries if you have those, if you incorporate indexes and glossaries. But we're only concerned about a TOC here. There is a more extravagant way to create TOCs, and that is to create a topic that's specifically for your TOC, and then you would insert one of these proxies, which we've looked at earlier in the course, and it is a TOC proxy in there. And that's how you would do it. Now, why would you use the hard way as opposed to this easy way? Well, the easy way is great because it just gets it done. You don't have to do any thinking. The hard way is good because it's more flexible. I could control the look and feel of the individual parts of the TOC doing that. That's something I'm definitely not going to talk about in this video. There is a whole section on printed output in the online help. You can go read about it if you really want to go and do, learn about customizing a print TOC. But I think in a lot of cases, especially for online e-learning courses, you're probably just going to use the easy method. I would. All right. Unless I had a really good reason for not doing it. Not going to really worry about too many of these other settings. I mean, I do really like this use TOC depth for heading levels, and that's selected in there, but it's already set up. Don't want to go too far off, onto other things here. Build advanced PDF options is a unique tab that you'll get in PDF targets. So all these options that are specific for PDFs that you don't have in other places, and you can put in your title in here, and this is just going to show in your properties and your name and how you want the PDFs to open up initially. Do you want it to show 2 pages up, continuous, single page, things like that you can go in there and set. But we're not going to worry about anything specifically in there. That is setting those options. There is one other option I forgot that I promised to show you, and that's in the advanced tab, and that's right here. Show correct answers for e-learning questions. Can't believe I almost forgot that. So this is the teacher version. This is so easy. So you just select that because it's the teacher version and we want to show the correct answers. On the student version, so I said these two targets are really, really close, almost identical, just like the variables field in here is set to the student version in this, and then you go to the advanced tab and this is deselected. I don't want to show the correct answers. It's just a couple of little things that are different, but it makes all the difference in the world. So when we generate the student version, they're going to see the questions, they're going to see the answers, but it's not going to be marked with the right one. So super easy. You don't have to use another more complex technique to make that happen. It just is a simple checkbox. Really, 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 really cool. So that is going to do it for PDF output. Hopefully you have at least a decent understanding of how these PDFs came together in this project template. And, as you work on it more and get more experience, you'll be able to pick up other things on how to do it, but you should be able to use the templates at least to get a running start at this.